Getting ready for a big hurricane within the next 24 hours. By this time tomorrow night, I expect sustained winds at 50, gusts to 70, 80 perhaps, and maybe only going higher in some spots, especially right near where that center of that eye wall makes it on through. So let's get to it. First off, big picture showing what's going on radar-wise, and we have some pretty good tropical showers already developing. This is way in advance of the storm over toward Baton Rouge. We've had some rain showers moving across the area. The atmosphere is getting what I call humidified. We're getting kind of primed for a tropical system to move on in, and we move it on out into the Gulf of Mexico, and we can kind of see some of the other outer rain bands. But you can see this action off to the north and east of us pretty active, and this is going to persist for a while tonight and then probably weaken a little bit as the circulation of our system, our hurricane, takes shape in the Gulf of Mexico. And check this out. Using the Brownsville Doppler radar, we can see the eye wall right here, and this is not good news when you're picking out these reflectivities so far away. That means some very tall thunderstorms in the eastern part of the eye wall here. So this could be a developing system still, and it has been generally strengthening very slowly. It's not going through perhaps a rapid intensification cycle, and we don't think that's going to happen. But adding another 5, 10, or 15 miles an hour to the storm, certainly a possibility till it gets to about this point. Then it's going to start encountering upper level shear. Oceanic heat content is going to be lower, so we do think this is gradually going to weaken, but don't get too caught up in the word weakened, because this is going to be a powerful Category 2, maybe near a 3 when it makes landfall, and that is going to be bad news, and it's going to be a large hurricane, large wind field as well. So right now, Cat 3, 120 mile an hour winds. That's new. It's up just a bit, gust to 150. We won't see that, fortunately. It's moving to the north-northwest at 12, and it will continue to move generally to the north-northwest, and then shift to the north, and then begin to interact with that upper-level trough coming in, which is going to start turning it to the northeast. No big changes in the track forecast, only that you may notice that the cone is getting smaller and smaller. That's because we're getting closer and closer to landfall. So hurricane conditions are going to be found outside of this cone. A lot of times we say, well, if we're up here in this cone, hurricane conditions, but not now. Now we're going to have weather outside of this cone area. So this is where the center is going to go more than likely. That's anywhere between Lafayette and Lake Charles. This is the average error this far out, with a landfall right around late tomorrow afternoon, early tomorrow evening, give or take an hour or two. And again, we compared this a little bit earlier. You see where it's making landfall and compare where Hurricane Laura came in, very close to the same exact spot, just right near the Grand Chenier area once again. So incredible that this storm is hitting the same spot that a big hurricane hit just 6 weeks ago, and as a Category 4. So that's the way it's been for this year. Big storm inundations, as we talked about this. If you're in the storm surge zone anywhere in the red or orange, you've got to get out. Absolutely. We're going to have high water again. Creole, Johnson's Bayou, down through North Island, over to Pecan Island, Grand Chenier, the whole 9 yards. And then as we get up toward Intracoastal City, again, you're going to see some big inundations, much bigger inundations than what we saw with Hurricane Laura. This is Avery Island right here. It's actually going to be an island because the ocean water is going to surround this area as the water comes up and gets pile driven inland. We're going to have water coming up the Delcombe Canal, and I didn't even touch on this. Let me just move the map over a little bit, looking over toward Lake Arthur and Mermentau. The Mermentau River is going to back up a little bit, so we're going to have some flooding just south of the Lake Arthur area as well, and that flooding continues into the northwestern sections of St. Mary Parish. Maybe not quite as bad as you go farther south and east, but still some major inundations with this storm. So here's a futurecast. We're going to go with the latest model. This model I haven't even seen yet. I knew it'd come in just in time for the show. So let's see where this brings landfall with this system. And this is the RPM model, and it's pretty close with the National Hurricane Center. Here we are at 7 o'clock. So we're comparing landfall, and this is when we're going to see those big, heavy tropical rain bands that are going to produce gusts to 80, maybe up to 100. And we see that spanning into Lafayette and then just about back through Lake Charles. So kind of just threading the needle between Lafayette and Lake Charles. By midnight, it looks like things are going to be improving. We'll see some gusty winds and some tropical squalls and winds turning around from the south to the west-southwest, and then things quieting down as we head towards Saturday morning. And I think we see sunshine, at least partial sunshine, for Saturday afternoon. So here's the latest NAM model. We're not going to show you the graph model because that doesn't update for another hour. Just to give you an idea, though, sustained winds 20-30, gusts to 40-50 as we head toward tomorrow afternoon. The big winds beginning to work their way on the coast right around sunset or shortly before that, and you can see a lot of gusts to 70. Anything in purple, gusts to 70. Anything in white is gusts to 100. So we hope this weekend's a fair bit as it moves on in. And again, you can see the NAM model a little bit more back to the west, but still in the same general area, gusts to 70, 80. So that means we could easily see gusts 90 to 100 when this model is indicating 70, 80 mile-an-hour winds. You might be able to add another 10 on top of that, and that's what's going to produce all the power outages through 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Hurricane force winds, they will continue at least through about midnight and then finally begin to ease up down the road. So let's get into it with respect to the power threat. This is the latest model showing now those power outages moving in maybe as early as 5 or 6, but I think it's going to be a little bit later. This is based off the graph model, but the bottom line, widespread power outages in the mix. And as for rainfall, we'll go with the graph model rainfall showing very heavy rain. We'll say 4 to 8, isolated up to a foot. I thought I was going to show you the RPM model. We got the GFS model. This, let me get through that one. The Euro model, all saying the same thing. The heaviest rains will be back to the west. So big storm surge. Again, these graphics will be reposted online and on KATC.com. Again, power outages, but this is the most important graphic. We know the storm surge, street flooding with the rainfall, but what is going to happen to my home? Well, shingles are going to come off. We're going to have corners and cornices of your house be damaged, chimneys as well, metal buildings, awnings, porch coverings. They could be destroyed or certainly displaced. And do not stay in a mobile home. Seek substantial shelter, and when you do, make sure you have a safe room in the house away from all windows, and take a survey around your home. We're going to have a lot of trees down, a lot of branches down, and a lot of power lines down, and they're going to be live power lines as well. That's for all of Acadiana. So here we go. Again, rough day tomorrow, much better as we head into the weekend, and then smooth sailing as we go deeper into next week, and hopefully cooler air down the road. Guys?
Okay, Rob, thanks.